We're just a few seconds away now from the start of the warm-up lap as we approach 12:40 local time on a searing afternoon here at Misano. Everybody on identical bikes, the Panigale V4 Tricolore, and just savour this moment because it's not often that we get to see so many greats from MotoGP, World Superbikes and National Championships together. Also looking forward to seeing Kayla Yakov, the 18-year-old American female rider who's been doing amazing things with a pole position in Moto America Supersport and of course that historic podium at Daytona in the 200 earlier on this season. Kayla, mentored and managed by PJ Jacobson, will be on a MotoGP bike here tomorrow at Misano, so watch out for that on social media as this warm-up lap now gets underway. There's the Lambo at the back of the field. Of course, Ducati technically owned by Lamborghini. Officially, Volkswagen owns Audi, which owns Lamborghini, which owns Ducati. And what a partnership it has been since Audi got involved from 2012 onwards. Down on the warm-up lap now to the La Quercia corner, the oak tree itself planted on the inside. There it is in the background. And now we're up to Tramonto, the sunset corner, and there was a spectacular sunset actually as I was looking out of the media centre window up towards Tramonto last night. It's quite windy out there. You can hear the wind on some of the microphones from around the track, so they'll be watching out for that. There's a confirmation of the 49-degree track temperature we have here, 32 air, humidity 38%. So, just to remind you of the starting order, it will be Bulega on the pole on a 1:34.3 lap time. Just to give you an idea, that's about 3 seconds off the Superbike pole position, but that was on qualifying tyres, it must be said, earlier this year. So when you consider the fact that they're not using qualifying tyres here, and these are essentially road bikes, that is absolutely unbelievable. Baldassarri on the yellow bike will be alongside this man Bulega, and then it's Montella, Surra, Morbidelli, Bagnaia is row 2. Di Gianantonio is 7th, who was delighted to have a photo on the stage last night with three-time World Superbike champion Troy Bayliss. And watch out for Marc Marquez in 12th place, number 93. Here we go then. Who's going to be champion of the champions for 2026? Lights on. Go for the Lenovo Race of Champions at Misano. Who's got the lead on the run down to the first corner? Jari Montella's on the inside line. Nicolò Bulega just about holds the lead. Montella and Baldassarri side by side through the second part of the park chicane. Lukas Tulovic and Josh Waters towards the back of the field for the German Championship and Aussie Superbike. Surra's gone up to third position now at Rio, muscling his way in front of Jari Montella, so it's Bulega leading. Can he make it another victory in his amazing 2026? There's Marc Marquez coming from the fourth row of the grid. Marc is still down in 13th position on the opening lap. Look at Surra on the inside of Baldassarri, and the Moto Corsa Ducati rider from World Superbikes passes the Go 11 Ducati rider from World Superbikes and he's up into second place. Tramonto, Bagnaia is 5th. Pecco Bagnaia has made a good start. He's just up behind Jari Montella. Tommy Bridewell's pushing really hard as we look through the heat haze. Tommy, former British Superbike champion of 2023, a stunning 5th place for him in World Superbikes in Aragon earlier on this year. And Tommy now is running just behind two-time MotoGP world champion Pecco Bagnaia. There's Tommy, number 46. Then it's Morbidelli. Didia's right in behind him. The two highlighter-like VR46 Ducati Panigale V4 Tricolores. Oh, careful with track limits, everybody, with that green paint on the outside of turn 15 down towards 16. Happy birthday again, 40 today for this man, Michele Pirro, but it's a brave effort for Michele with a broken collarbone after a practice crash here on Thursday. We get into lap 2 with 9 to go. There's Bridewell, look at that. Morbidelli and Didia absolutely locked together. At least they're the same colour in case they trade any paint. But Surra up ahead of Baldassarri and Pecco, all over the back of Montella. Oh, Fabio Di Gianantonio and his teammate. Careful, boys, this is only a celebrity race here at Misano this afternoon. But he's gone through. So Didia's up to 7th. Morbidelli's down into 8th place. Lukas Tulovic has made a fantastic start to the race. What an opening lap for him. and they're all over the place. Bautista's having a go as well now. Alvaro Bautista said he was going to take it easy, but I don't think he's going to be wanting to finish behind the likes of Lucas Tulovic and Hafiz Shirin, who are doing great things in their national championships, but two-time world champion Bautista is desperate to get through. Taz McKenzie is 12th. Now here's that moment at Rio. Oh dear. Fabio Di Gianantonio on the inside, Franco Morbidelli on the outside, and if they didn't touch, it was mighty close. The strain going through the Brembo braking system there, absolutely incredible. Surra is trying to close in on Nicolò Bulega at the front of the field. It's 0.5 of a second at the moment, as you can see on the graphics on the left hand side, but it was down to 0.3 halfway around the lap. Let's see if Frankie can do anything now about Digia as we come through to the start of the third lap of 10 here at Misano. Bulega leads, Surra is second, Baldassarri is third, Montella is fourth. It's like commentating on World Superbikes again. Pecco Bagnaia in fifth place. Pecco, though, is now just 4/10 behind Jari Montella. Look in the background. There, you just saw the front wheel of Pecco coming into the shot. Tommy Bridewell still up there in sixth place with Lee Curry, the team boss of Superbike Advocates, watching on here this weekend, and he'll be absolutely delighted to see that. What a great start to the season it's been for the Advocates team, and for Tommy Bridewell, and for his crew chief Mick Shanley. Everybody involved there at Advocates, the Anglo-Australian team, have been superb so far in 2026, and so has this man Nicolò Bulega, leading this race, the 2015 Junior Moto3 World Champion, in a 4-rider finale in Valencia in the last race. And Nicolò famously won that title with just the one win to his name, but he was on the podium in pretty much all the races bar one or two. Montella through the shot. Here comes Pecco Bagnaia. Well, the chance of Pecco went on for 2 or 3 minutes yesterday. Bautista's name is falling down the order on the left-hand side of your screen. He was in 10th position. Has Bautista hit trouble? I think he's dropped to the back of the pack, so I'll keep an eye on that to see whether Alvaro's run off the track, maybe somewhere in the middle part of the lap here at Misano. He's definitely fallen down to 16th, which is last. Pirro's gone through as well. 7 to go. This is lap 4, and Bulega sets another fastest lap of the race on a 1:34.5 in this Lenovo Race of Champions, just one day after the 100th birthday of Ducati, which dates back to 1926. But here in 2026, Bulega is looking to make it 26 wins in a row if you include his 25 in World Superbikes, and all 21 in an absolutely splendid season so far. He's been on pole position at every single World Superbike round. He's won the race in every single start in World Superbikes. Pole position here, leading here, fastest lap here, and if he keeps it all together for another 6.5 laps as he just skates and glides his way into Tramonto corner, it's going to be another victory. But yes, into the pits, that is Michele Pirro. He's suffering a great burnout of the rear Pirelli as well. That was a brave effort from Michele to go out there and put on a show despite having a broken collarbone, and we wish him all the best on his 40th birthday. Well done, Michele Pirro. Hope the operation goes well on the collarbone later in the week. There he is with Gigi Dell'Igna. Bautista's pitted as well. Bautista has also pitted and retired from this race. Oh, you can see Michele Pirro's in a lot of pain, can't you? That was a really valiant effort there to make the start and go out there for the fans. Well done, Michele Pirro. Fantastic. In the meantime, Baldassarri is trying to put some pressure on Alberto Surra. Surra and Balda have been pushing ridiculously hard all across the weekend. A lot of the MotoGP riders being sensible and taking it easy. But remember, the MotoGP riders aren't as used to these bikes. These are road-going bikes, essentially, with much softer suspension, different seat units, different riding position, and they behave very differently to the very stiff prototype MotoGP machines. Let's not forget the tyres as well. Michelin, of course, in MotoGP, Pirelli here and in World Superbikes, and then we're going to switch around for 2027. Bulega using his left foot there as a berm, almost as a feeler, just to get a reference down into the La Quercia braking zone. His current lead is 1.1 seconds. I'm interested to see if Balda there on the yellow bike can do anything about Surra in the closing stages. But still half the race to go. There went Montella, Bagnaia. We'll have to see if Pecco starts attacking Montella in the closing stages. Tommy Bridewell is still pushing on in 6th place. Then the two luminous spikes, Morbidelli back in front of Fabio Di Gianantonio after that dramatic move from Digia earlier on in the race. Tulovic is going brilliantly in 9th position. There's Taz McKenzie right behind him. Hafiz Shirin, 6-time winner, all the races in the Asian Series so far this season. And here is the tired Marc Marquez. He's been through the wars, hasn't he, over the last few weeks. The greatest sporting comeback ever, quite possibly, Marc Marquez, with what he's achieved over the last few years. Bouncing back from that Jerez crash in 2020, making a return, admitting it was too soon, taking more time off, operation after operation after operation, and a stunning 9th Grand Prix World title for him, and first with Ducati in 2025. And it was great actually to hear the rapturous round of applause that Marc received at the huge show that took place here on the circuit last night. We know there's no love lost with some of the Italian fans and Marc Marquez after his incidents with Mr. Rossi in previous years, but it's great to see there is a lot of love for Marc Marquez. Not as much as Pecco Bagnaia, I have to say, who's treated as a real superstar in this part of the world, but they love Marc Marquez as well, who brought the title back to Borgo Panigale last season. Just going through the YouTube comments here in the commentary box, we can see the messages coming in from all of you from all over the world and spreading the love for, I think, pretty much all the riders. So that is lovely to see, as Hafiz Shirin now on lap 6 passes Taron McKenzie. I'm just seeing that on the timing screen. So the Malaysian, and I know there's a lot of you watching in Malaysia and indeed in Indonesia for that matter, has just passed Taz McKenzie and is up into... Just going through the YouTube comments here in the commentary box, we can see the messages coming in from all of you from all over the world and spreading the love for, I think, pretty much all the riders. So that is lovely to see, as Hafiz Shirin now on lap 6 passes Taron McKenzie. I'm just seeing that on the timing screen. So the Malaysian, and I know there's a lot of you watching in Malaysia and indeed in Indonesia for that matter, has just passed Taz McKenzie and is up into 10th position. There goes Bulega. Surra has been splendid so far this season in World Superbikes. Number 67, following in the footsteps of Shane Shaky Byrne in that sense. Number 67, the 6-time British Superbike champion, and of course a World Superbike double winner as a wildcard was Shaky at Brands Hatch back in 2003. But Surra, he's still only 22. The rider who, like this man Pecco Bagnaia, is from Turin. Surra is the youngest rider on the grid here this afternoon, as opposed to Bautista, who now at the ripe old age of 41 is actually the oldest rider on the grid, a year or so older than Michele Pirro. Sending our best wishes as well to Alex Marquez and his Gresini teammates Fermin Aldeguer. They're not riding this weekend. Alex is here supporting all of the other riders, his brother in particular, of course, although they're both recovering, as we know, from incidents earlier on in the Grand Prix season. Alex in particular, that horrible crash in the Catalan Grand Prix at Barcelona when Pedro Acosta's bike broke down in front of him and he had nowhere to go. Congratulations also to Iker Lecuona and his wife Gemma, who's just given birth in the last few days to lovely little baby Luna, and that's why Iker is not here with us at Misano this weekend. If you are listening in Iker, we'll see you at Donington next weekend for World Superbikes, but enjoy the moment. Congratulations to both of you. Mum and baby 100% well, which is brilliant. Now, Taz Mac, this is something Taron McKenzie's never been able to say before. You've got Marc Marquez right behind you. So the 2021 British Superbike champion and former British Supersport champion, Taron McKenzie, what's he going to do about the 9-time Grand Prix world champion, Marc Marquez? Marc, who celebrated his 100th Grand Prix victory, and in the same race, would you believe, Ducati's 100th Grand Prix victory at the Hungarian Grand Prix at Balaton Park earlier on this season. If Taron's watched the footage of the Lenovo Race of Champions from 2 years ago, the last edition we had, he'll know full well that Marc hit Bulega and took him off at the last corner. And even if you're fighting for 11th position, as they are here, there is no way Marc Marquez is going to go into the last lap of a race with a chance of passing somebody at the last corner without a late lunge. So I will be surprised, taking nothing away from Taz, if Marquez finishes behind him at the end of this race. But what an opportunity, though, for Taron Mackenzie to be lapping with right behind you. Is Mark going to have a go? He pulls out of the slipstream down into the left-hander of Leclerc corner. Taron Mackenzie meet Marc Marquez, who comes through on lap 8 and moves up into 11th position. But Taz is not giving up, and that's one to dine out on, isn't it, Taz Mac? I'm sure you'll be telling Taylor and Neil and Jan, if you're watching back home, your man just passed Marc Marquez. I never thought I'd be saying that. Taron Mackenzie overtakes Marc Marquez and is back up into 11th position. This is great stuff. Michael Galinsky, of course, runs the team, the sky blue, black and white team, the Optical Express sponsored MGM squad of Taron Mackenzie, who started off brilliantly in Australia with that 4th place in World Superbikes in race 2 at the start of the season. We're into the penultimate lap already. Time flies when you're having fun here at Misano. Bulega leads by 1.8 seconds, but is multiple Moto2 Grand Prix winner, former Red Bull Rookies champion and World Superbike podium man Lorenzo Baldassarri about to pass Surra. Surra made his debut in World Supersport last year as a super sub for the injured Chan and Ju, and even scored a podium finish, would you believe, into World Superbike so far this season. He's definitely a hard elbows out racer, is Surra, as Sam Lowe's knows well after that collision they had caused by Surra at Most in the Czech Republic earlier on this season. Sam and Mark VDS, incidentally, the Mark VDS team are here, but Sam's taking the weekend off. He's with his family. There's been a lot of activity for Sam over the last few weeks, promotional events and goodness knows what else. So Sam's not racing here this weekend, but he will of course be in contention in front of his home crowd in the East Midlands at Donington next weekend. But look at Surra all over the green paint there on the outside, coming out of the Cavone and down towards this Caro hairpin. Slowest part of the track here at Misano, turn 14, where they're down to first gear on these road machines, about 40 miles an hour through there. This is the last corner where they're doing about 70 miles an hour. Back up the gearbox, accelerate down the start finish, and Bulega's over the line to start the last lap. Making notes there on the Aruba pit wall as though this were a serious World Championship race. Bulega leads, Surra is second. Lorenzo Baldassarri all over the back of his fellow Italian. Are we going to get a change on this last lap? Surra, 22 years old from Turin. Right behind him, Baldassarri, 29 years of age from San Severino Marche. It's going to be Moto Corsa versus Go 11. Montella is still 4th. Pecco Bagnaia behind him is 5th. Tommy Bridewell is 6th for Morbidelli, Digia and Tulovic. Then it's Shireen from Mackenzie, who's still got Marc Marquez right behind him. PJ Jacobson is in 13th position from Josh Waters. Bautista pulled into the pits earlier on, as did Michele Pirro. Great burnout though from Pirro, who put on that brave effort to go out there despite a broken collarbone. Okay, how's this going to pan out then on this last lap? We're going to have Superbike riders in the top 4 positions, but who's going to be second and who's going to be third? Because Lorenzo Baldassarri is definitely going to attack Surra. Surra will hope that his podium that he's about to achieve here, unless it goes wrong, will be the first of several this season. We've not yet seen him on the podium in World Superbikes, but Baldassarri all over the back of him now. Nicolò Bulega is just 1 corner away from victory here in the 2026 Lenovo Race of Champions. Surra is second. There is no lunge from Baldassarri, but down the road, Nicolò Bulega, he is a winning machine in 2026. Nico Bulega wins the 2026 Lenovo Race of Champions here at World Ducati Week on the 100th anniversary weekend of the Borgo Panigale factory. Surra is second, Baldassarri is third, then it's Montella, Bagnaia and Bridewell. Look in the background, Taron Mackenzie does finish in front of Marc Marquez. Lovely wheelie there as well from the German Lukas Tulovic, number 3, 26-year-old in 9th place. But there is Camilla, girlfriend of Nicolò Bulega, and Tommy Raponi, his crew chief Chaz Davis was in the background there as well. Multiple World Superbike race winner. 5 times Chaz has finished either second or third in the Superbike World Championship. But Nicolò Bulega, this is just incredible what he's doing in 2026. 26. So if you include all those World Superbike wins, that's 26 successive wins now for Nicolò Bulega. Balda will be pleased with that. I was getting a bit worried, I must be honest, on that last lap, that Baldassarri was going to have a desperate dive up the inside of Surra. We might have even seen Montella and Bagnaia ending up on the podium if that had happened. But thankfully, unlike last time, they all got to the end without any collisions. Although the VR46 riders did do a pretty good job of trying to take each other out earlier on in the race, when Digia dives up the inside of Morbidelli into the right-hander at Rio Corner on lap 2. But there they are. They're pretty good mates, actually, Digia and Bulega. Bulega, one of several riders who actually lives in the Principality of San Marino, along with Pecco Bagnaia and Stefano Manzi and others just up the road from here. You can see the special helmet design of Bulega that he also used for the World Superbike round here a few weeks ago, which is a pizzeria owned by some friends of his in Venice, and there's all sorts of waiters and waitresses on the crash helmet, as well as people from his team, his family. He's got his parents on there, his girlfriend, the pet dog is on there, would you believe, and even Federico Capelli, who is the press officer for the Ducati Aruba team in the Superbike World Championship. But that is incredible from Bulega. And thank you again to all of you for all of your messages of support coming in. I know the riders really do appreciate it from when I was chatting with them on the stage here at the show last night. And whether you've been here at World Ducati Week or watching from afar, it's been brilliant to have you all as part of it. So thank you again from all of us at Ducati for that. Say goodbye to that particular rear Pirelli tyre of Jari Montella, who's just come through in 4th place. Pecco was right behind him at the end. Pecco was only 0.2 of a second behind Montella. And now a few riders, by the looks of things, are going to stop to burn out the tyres. There's Alberto Surra, Pecco on the right, and they're on the grass in the background as well. And those marks are going to be left on the tarmac of Misano for several weeks, I am quite sure.
Like a tattoo.
Yeah, like a tattoo, as Frine says to me here in the commentary box. And I must say a massive thanks to my good friend Frine Villia from Dorna, who's been sat next to me for the race, doing all of the Italian translations. So Frine's been like my Rosetta Stone, basically, making me sound like I could understand Italian, which I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear, Frine, is not the case. Spanish, maybe. Italian, no. So very thanks to Frine, who will be off, of course, to the German Grand Prix next weekend at the Sachsenring before a much deserved rest for the MotoGP summer break. Don't forget, World Superbikes will be at Donington Park next weekend. Bulega wins then. There's a surprise. I'm used to saying Bulega wins in 2026 from Surra, Baldassarri and Montella. Superbike riders in the top 4. Pecco Bagnaia from everybody at the Ducati, a massive, massive thanks. But there's still half a season to go, of course, in MotoGP. Tommy Bridewell will be very pleased with 6th place and getting to experience the likes of MotoGP riders around him on the track. And what a great little scrap that was to see Tara McKenzie and Marc Marquez overtaking each other. But Marc is a bit weary and tired, and he's being careful. There is no point risking an injury when you're trying to catch the likes of Jorge Martin, Marco Bezzecchi, Digia, and of course, our most recent new Grand Prix winner, Ai Ogura. It is so close, isn't it? With just 40 points covering the top 5 at the moment in the MotoGP World Championship. And for the last time on a Ducati in the Race of Champions, although he will, of course, be back for the Grand Prix here at Misano for MotoGP, the San Marino Grand Prix on the weekend of the 12th and 13th of September. Pecco Bagnaia absolutely wrecks what's left of that Pirelli tyre down the start-finish straight, where incidentally all of the riders who have been involved in the event, including all of the legends, the likes of Frankie Keeley and Troy Bayliss, Ruben Zaus, Casey Stoner, and many, many others. Regis Laconi is here this weekend, Carl Fogarty, the 4-time Superbike World Champion, and many, many more. They were all dining there 2 or 3 nights ago in a very luxurious looking meal on the start-finish straight, including all of the top brass from Ducati as well, the likes of Claudio Domenicali, Gigi Dell'Igna, of course, and all of the relative team leaders, the likes of Tardozzi, Serafino Fotti from World Superbike and World Supersport, respectively, and MotoGP as well, of course. They were all dining there just a few nights ago. For the record, Bulega did indeed set the fastest lap as well. There's a surprise. He really is on form this year.
anche te rispetto a lui. Sì. Però io proprio, essendo dietro, gli andavo addosso, solo che al carro non... hai fatto secondo o terzo? Terzo,
Lenovo Race of Champions 2026. Che gara straordinaria che abbiamo avuto il piacere e l'onore di seguire. Diamo la possibilità ai piloti che
Bulega there,
sono
Baldassarri just saying, were you second, were you third? Nicolò said. Third, said Lorenzo Baldassarri. Pecco's just come past our commentary box window. There he is in the pits.
Ragazzi, davvero, sia in qualifica sia in gara, questa Panigale V4
podium ceremony
ha performato in un modo assolutamente inatteso. Quindi, come dicevo, siamo quasi pronti, diamo la possibilità a tutto il pubblico di Misano, tutto il pubblico del VDV di arrivare qua nella
Ryan
zona
Gregory there from
del
Ducati
podio,
UK getting himself on the television.
Questa Lenovo Race of Champions 2026. Abbiamo
As this
avuto Nicolò
presentation
Bulega,
begins
che è
very
partito subito
shortly,
in testa,
and the gentleman will
è rimasto
introduce,
al
of course,
comando,
Nicolò Bulega to the stage. Nicolò,
con un
who will
di
feel
marcia
P1 is his by rights in
Alberto Surra
2026. Remember, he was also the Super Sport World Champion in 2023 and runner-up the last 2 years to Toprak Razgatlioglu in World Superbike. So it's definitely Nico's turn to win in 2026.
Costantemente sotto l'1,35, che era il record di 2 anni fa. È stato polverizzato.
And yes, you are absolutely right on YouTube. Of course, how can I forget the likes of Neil Hodgson and James Toseland, Ducati World Champions of the past. Although, to be fair to me, I will just say in my defence, Neil's not actually here this weekend. James, I believe, is. Not yet seen him. Yes, he is. I'll try and catch up with James in the paddock shortly. But of course, James, 2004 World Champion. Neil, 2003 World Champion.
Diamo anche la possibilità a tutto il pubblico che vedo arrivare benissimo dalle tribune, così facciamo una grande festa, perché è giusto che sia così. Il centenario Ducati, pensate, 1926, i tre fratelli Bruno, Adriano, Marcello fondano un'azienda, una società scientifica di radiobrevetti, e in questi 100 anni arriviamo qui.
Let's just also take a moment, of course, to remember the late great Marco Simoncelli, after whom this circuit is named, and he would have loved to see the action that's taken place here this afternoon. And of course, the same goes for Mr. Valentino Rossi, having been a Ducati rider himself.
È a tutti gli effetti una gara titolata.
Valentino, incidentally, not here this weekend, for anybody who's wondering. If you're listening at the track and looking out for
due
it.
dei protagonisti del trofeo Ducati V2 Future Champ, mentre per quanto riguarda
just a few of the other championships that are taking place this weekend are being discussed, because we've also got the V2 Championship, one of the national series for Ducati, happening here this weekend.
Race of Champions. Anche questa è una cosa giusta e da sottolineare. Stanno arrivando tante persone, venite qua, che è il momento giusto per le celebrazioni di questa fantastica edizione del centenario, ragazzi. 100 anni di Ducati, una storia meravigliosa che è andata avanti, scandita.
If you are just switching on live here on YouTube, welcome along. You can rewind and watch the race. But if you're watching live now, we're just waiting for the podium ceremony for the Lenovo Race of Champions of 2026. If you don't want to know the winner, then
e poi andiamo
mute
ancora
us now or go back now, because you're about to find out who's won. If you're just tuning in and you've not yet seen the race, you can go back. But there's a pretty good clue anyway, as you can see the bikes lined up here in the middle of the screen.
2007, Casey Stoner. E qua c'è Max che lo ha intervistato. Casey Stoner, c'è il fiatone?
No, ma sono in formissima, ragazzi.
Grande Max.
Cioè, voglio dire, piloti,
certo.
Fa ridere questa cosa. Ma che meraviglia comunque vedere tutto questo.
Stanno arrivando.
Sono corsi anche loro.
Anche loro dalle tribune, dalla tribuna centrale, quindi diamo tutto il tempo sia ai piloti di rinfrescarsi un attimo, perché 10 giri con 50 gradi, giustamente, ma anche al pubblico di arrivare, perché come dicevo, vogliamo celebrare questi 100 anni nel modo migliore. C'è anche Heather Watson, che avete sentito per il commento in inglese, quindi ci muoviamo al centro. Questo che vedete giù è il podio vero e proprio, quindi i piloti verranno qua per ricevere i trofei che, come ho anticipato, saranno consegnati sia dai primi due classificati della gara del trofeo V2 Future Champ, sia da colei che ha realizzato il nuovo logo della Race of Champions, che è bellissimo. Facciamo un applauso, ragazzi, a questo logo, veramente celebra, vedete tutti i colori, i 100 anni di storia Ducati. Sì, facciamo tradurre, prego.
So this is the new logo for the Race of Champions, which has been designed by a competition. There's been a winner to this competition. This is the winning design. Her name is Giulia, and she will be doing one of the prize givings at the ceremony that's about to come up.
Max, cosa ti ha impressionato di più di questa gara?
La moto che hanno fatto questi signori qua.
Quello lì con la barbetta bianca.
Con la barbetta bianca è una cosa impressionante, perché questa,
Ciao, Gigi.
ovviamente l'ingegnere Gigi
Facciamo un
D'Armigna.
applauso, ragazzi.
Ma
Fantastico.
un applauso a lui, un applauso alla Ducati,
A tutta l'azienda.
Tricolore, che questa, lo ripetiamo, è una moto standard, non c'è niente di strano, c'è l'impianto di scarico, ci sono le pastiglie, ma poi tutto il resto è di serie.
Anzi,
quindi,
addirittura hanno tolto i cerchi in carbonio
Sì,
perché non
sì,
sono omologati per l'uso in
vero,
pista.
è
Pensa
vero,
a te,
è vero,
da stradale a moto da
l'hanno
corsa.
appesantita,
Esatto.
che poi vabbè, non è così,
No,
perché poi
no.
i carbonio devono essere omologati e quindi è un'altra cosa. Però vedere un Nicolò Bulega che mi gira in 34 per 7 giri su 10, cioè, ma davvero, io prima quando dicevo mi piacerebbe vederlo a Jerez su questa moto, su una moto normale, non sto scherzando, cioè la curiosità motociclistica mi porta a pensare a delle sfide abbastanza impossibili.
Potrebbe essere il futuro, chissà. E quindi vediamo, li stiamo aspettando, intanto il pubblico arriva, quindi possiamo fare anche una piccola traduzione in inglese, Eder, per questa gara che si è svolta sulla distanza di 10 giri con Nicolò che è partito in fuga e gli altri due portacolori della scuola italiana. Permettimi una nota di orgoglio, visto che tu sei un po' un'infiltrata dalla nostra parte, però anche Bridewell si è distinto molto bene, quindi comunque un podio tutto italiano, con moto italiana, insomma VDV 2026, grande orgoglio.
An incredible 10-lap race. So Bulega, I think we had a little idea already yesterday that Bulega might take the win. He did just that. His consistency was incredible. But aside from Bulega, Sura, Baldassari really battled it out to the end there. Did such a good job.
Allora, mi dicono che i piloti sono già disponibili, però sta arrivando ancora tanta gente, quindi aspettiamo ancora qualche minuto. Sono belli sudati, però insomma è giusto celebrare come si deve. Sta arrivando tanta gente, dicevo, una gara strepitosa con un cambio completo di generazione, mi viene da dire.
È vero, beh, intanto la famosa Ducati Cup, no? Che si diceva qualche tempo fa, oggi è una Ducati Cup, sono tutte V4S. Abbiamo 3 piloti italiani, questa secondo me è un po' la notizia. Non pensavo onestamente, e non pensavo nemmeno che ci fossero 3 piloti della Superbike sul podio, quindi è un po' un colpo di scena. Sarebbe bello poterli intervistare tutti, ovviamente, per capire come mai, il perché, il per come, che cosa non ha funzionato, chi ha dato il 100%. Guarda, questi due qua sicuramente hanno dato il 110, hanno dato la vita per fare questa gara. Bulega non lo so, ho sempre il sospetto che si tenga quel piccolo margine per, sai,
amministrare.
Ma sì, comunque c'è Donington fra una settimana, c'è anche per loro due, ma loro due forse se lo sono
dimenticato. Allora Max, signore e signori, se mi danno l'ok, direi che siamo pronti. Voglio l'applauso più grande di tutto il weekend per il vincitore della Lenovo Race of Champions 2026, Nicolò Bulega!
The victory was never really in doubt, was it, for Nicolò Bulega? As Heather Watson said, this is his year. And splendid consistency as well as that pole position lap.
Ciao Nicolò, complimenti. Allora,
il casco ha portato bene,
Il casco ha portato bene, lo stesso che aveva usato qua a Misano. Allora, vedo anche gli altri che completano il podio, quindi vedo il terzo per la verità, vedo anche il secondo, perfetto. Allora, diamo il benvenuto al secondo classificato, Alberto Surra!
Surra, who's already had 12 top 10 finishes and 2 top 5 finishes in World Superbikes for the Moto Corsa team this season.
E andiamo a completare questo terzetto stellare, una line-up clamorosa con il terzo posto di Lorenzo Baldassarri.
And Baldassarri twice on the podium this year with third places in Australia and Hungary. for the Go 11 Superbike team, and of course, he won those 3 Moto2 races back-to-back in 2019.
Di sentire le loro parole. A te, Max.
Tocca a me allora, parto dal Balda. Hai fatto una gara pazzesca, avevi 0,8, avevi 0,8 di svantaggio, hai dimezzato, addirittura sei arrivato a 0,1 e poi cos'è che non ha funzionato nel giro finale?
Mi è partita prima la quercia, ai primi giri, quando avevamo un bagarre con Albi che mi ha sorpassato. E lì, bello, è stato un bel jolly, giocato bene. E poi, niente, mi sono sistemato, sono riuscito ad andarlo a prendere, ma negli ultimi giri ne avevo di più, soprattutto nel T3, proprio gli andavo sotto, ma poi non sono riuscito a sferrare l'attacco. Mi dispiace per i fan che non sono riuscito a fare un po' di show, un po' da matti, però...
No, l'avete fatto,
bravo
l'avete
Alberto,
fatto.
bravo Nicolò.
L'avete fatto, Eder in English.
Yeah, that was a bit of a risky moment there, but he was able to bounce back. Hopes he's put on a real show for the crowd today, so a real good battle right to the end there.
Il giovanotto Alberto Surra, tu sei partito a cannone al 110 e finito al 110. Quanti jolly ti sei giocato oggi?
Ma non tanti, cioè, non so se si è visto dalla TV qualcosa, ma io ero abbastanza tranquillo, solo che a stare dietro a Nicolò è veramente dura e gli faccio i complimenti perché sta guidando veramente bene con tutte le moto e diciamo che è nel suo momento buono e sono contento per lui. Io niente, sono super emozionato, super contento di stare qua, è il mio primo VDV e dai, ringrazio la squadra e tutta Ducati che mi sta dando una mano e diciamo che fino adesso non ho mai avuto questa opportunità di questo mondo e diciamo che sto cercando di coglierla al meglio.
Bravo, sei stato bravo. Tu e Baldassarri ci avete fatto divertire da morire, mentre Bulega come al solito ha preso e se n'è andato, girando su un passo stellare. 1.34 l'hai fatto per credo 7 giri, vado a memoria. Sai che potresti correre nel mondiale Superbike e arriveresti nei 10.
Non sarebbe male, magari l'ultima gara ci proviamo a fare a Jerez e correre con questa Panigale qui che fa paura, sarebbe bello.
Beh, hai fatto paura tu però,
Grazie a tutti, è bellissimo vedervi tutti qua insieme. Faccio i complimenti a Ducati per questo VDV perché veramente penso non sia facile organizzare una cosa del genere, ma veramente bello, c'è un sacco di gente e fare questa garetta davanti a tutti i tifosi sembrava di fare una gara vera per tutta la gente che c'era, quindi mi sono divertito e come ho detto la moto è bellissima e quindi è stato un gran weekend.
Grazie Nicolò, in English, Eder.
Congratulations to Ducati for organising such an amazing event. As Bulega rightly says, it's not easy. There's a lot of work goes into this. He's had a lot of fun, as have all the riders here on the stage. So congratulations to everybody involved.
Bene, allora, signore e signori, prima di iniziare con la cerimonia ufficiale che vede il podio qua sotto il palco, quindi i piloti scenderanno di fianco alle loro moto per ricevere i trofei della Lenovo Race of Champions, voglio un altro grande applauso per l'amministratore delegato di Ducati, Claudio Domenicali. L'abbraccio di Claudio con i suoi piloti. Allora, Claudio, lo speech conclusivo, come sempre, lo fai tu e io voglio farti una domanda, mi permetto di farti una domanda un po' emozionale. Se oggi i 3 fratelli Ducati fossero qui e vedessero questi gioielli di tecnologia che voi avete realizzato, la Panigale V4S tricolore, performare in modo così incredibile nelle mani di questi interpreti straordinari, cosa proverebbero, cosa penserebbero secondo te?
Ma non lo so, innanzitutto ciao a tutti ancora, è bellissimo essere qua con voi tutti, grazie davvero ai ragazzi perché ci hanno regolato questo spettacolo ancora in questo modo con cautela, no? Guidando bene una bella gara con cautela ma girando in 34,4, 34 veramente... Ok, 34 e fischia, cioè in numeri pazzeschi, quindi penso che se i fratelli Ducati ci guardassero sarebbero contenti, no? Orgogliosi, contenti, orgogliosi del lavoro che hanno fatto tutti i ragazzi e le ragazze che lavorano in Ducati, orgogliosi di loro che si prestano a questo che alla fine è un gioco che facciamo per tutti e che le persone che vengono ci dimostrano quanto sono contente venendo sempre di più e creando questo evento che è diventato una roba che ci sta scappando di mano per quanto sta diventando grande, grosso, ma siamo tutti felici e quindi abbiamo la gioia nel cuore, negli occhi. Io ho la gioia nel vedervi, incontrarvi nel paddock. Penso che i ragazzi siano lo stesso. Io ho parlato con tanti di voi, quindi in sintesi penso che i fratelli Ducati ci direbbero grazie ragazzi, e lo dico a voi, grazie ragazzi e grazie a voi, grazie a tutti.
Perfetto. Grazie mille, grazie a Claudio Domenicali. Siamo arrivati al momento più atteso, la premiazione ufficiale. E allora, signore e signori, come dicevo, questo qua sotto il palco è il nostro podio, quindi ora chiamerò uno per uno i primi 3 classificati che andranno giù e poi riceveranno dalle mani dei premianti i trofei della Lenovo Race of Champions 2026. E allora, iniziamo dal terzo posto di Lorenzo Baldassarri, terzo classificato. Dopo una gara tutta all'attacco con il posteriore di traverso. Secondo posto, piazza d'onore per Alberto Surra. Ed ora il boato più grande per il vincitore della Lenovo Race of Champions 2026, Nicolò Bulega. Allora, per quanto riguarda l'official timekeeper, che è Lockman Italia, Roberto Pianeschi, area manager Nord Italia, omaggia i vincitori con gli esclusivi orologi della collezione Montecristo Ducati. Questi sono i premi appunto che vengono consegnati dall'official timekeeper, che è Lockman. Prego, tutti e 3 ricevono l'orologio. Prima Nicolò, ecco qua. Benissimo, facciamo un applauso per Lockman.
Lockman, the official timing partner of the event, handing the watch to Nicolò Bulega.
E poi
it was Antonio Cavalieri Ducati and his 3 sons who originally founded Ducati in 1926. Claudio Domenicali was just saying a few moments ago, if they're looking down, they would be proud of this event, of this company,
andiamo
and of course
veloci
of these
con
riders.
il terzo posto. Eccolo qua, intanto anche l'ultimo orologio. Benissimo. Allora, Davis Bergamini consegna il trofeo per il terzo posto di Lorenzo Baldassarri.
Here comes Davis Bergamini, one of the stars of the Italian V2 Ducati Championship, organised and run by Michele Pirro. Bergamini's also been racing in the World Superbike paddock the last few seasons, in classes such as World Supersport 300. Lovely prize as well, isn't it? The fairing. Second for Alberto Surra. Are we going to see him on the podium in World Superbikes, I wonder, before the end of the season? Surely it's coming soon.
Panigale tricolore V4S che rappresenta.
And I reckon this trophy for Nicolò Bulega will be taking a pretty plough pace on that Bulega mantelpiece back in San Marino, because this is a good one.
Il contest creativo lanciato da Ducati e Lenovo per realizzare il logo ufficiale della competizione, e il trofeo va dritto nelle mani di Nicolò Bulega.
Michele Pirro in 2018, Pecco Bagnaia in 2022 and 24. Nicolò Bulega wins the Ducati Lenovo Race of Champions of 2026.
Il podio, mi chiedono di far salire Gigi Dalligna sul palco. Gigi, vieni a raggiungerci insieme naturalmente a Claudio Domenicali. Rispetteremo in silenzio l'inno nazionale, come si fa di solito, come si fa nei weekend di gara al termine della competizione. E allora, siamo pronti? Bene, tutti in piedi per l'inno di Mameli! Ducati Lenovo Race of Champions. Champions,
a piece of music we've become accustomed to hearing this year for Nicolò Bulega.
Doccia di spumante
and now it's going to be chaos. He's used to this. Often runs straight into the crowd at World Superbike events as Bulega sprays champagne yet again in 2026.
Per un marchio unico. Grazie pubblico di Misano, grazie pubblico del VDV. Claudio, cosa possiamo aggiungere? Gigi, fate voi, io ho già detto tutto.
Cosa devo dire? Grazie prima di tutto a tutti i ducatisti che sono qua, è veramente una gioia vedervi tutti, vedervi sorridere al passaggio delle nostre moto e niente, vorrei abbracciarvi tutti uno per uno.
Perfetto, Claudio. Abbiamo già detto tanto, però queste immagini rimarranno nel cuore per tantissimi anni, l'edizione del centenario, direi indimenticabile.
Sì dai, ci vediamo qua fra 30 anni.
Assolutamente.
Magari in un'altra forma, non so se siamo spiritualisti, guarderemo da sopra, no? E guardiamo il VDV del 200. Facciamoci questo mega augurio.
Assolutamente, mi dicono di fare una foto finale con il pubblico di spalle, quindi richiamo per favore tutti i piloti qua sul palco.
The final photo just coming up now with the riders.
Naturalmente anche il pubblico.
The spectators will be included behind them this time.
Perfetto.
And as Claudio Domenicali was just saying, the images and videos and photographs of this WDW World Ducati Week 2026 will forever remain in our memories, and rightly so. It's been absolutely spectacular. Not least the 2000 drones, which put on an amazing display. Immediately followed by a spectacular fireworks display on the circuit last night.
Nel 2018, poi nel 22, nel 24 e oggi siamo qui a celebrare il quarto vincitore che entra di diritto nell'Albo d'Oro Ducati con una gara maiuscola. Allora diamo la possibilità naturalmente a Surra di infilare la tuta e non è al 100% fisicamente, quindi insomma l'operazione non è facilissima. Bene, allora mettetevi pure con le spalle al pubblico che andiamo a raccogliere quest'ultimo scatto che ci porteremo nel cuore, come diceva Claudio Domenicali, ancora per altri 100 anni. Sulle mani, pubblico di Misano! Ecco qua! La Lenovo Race of Champions 2026. Grazie a tutti, grazie mille, grazie da Lorenzo Mignati, da Max Temporali e da Eder Watson. Alla prossima, ciao!
Well, there we go. That was World Ducati Week 2026. From me, Greg Haynes, here in the Ducati commentary box. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's been memorable, and we'll be doing it all over again in 2028.